Hello everyone, this is Malvina and I'm recording this video because first of all I want to thank all of you for all of your support and the views and likes for my previous videos. And I know this is a little bit different form than I normally do because normally I'm doing vlogs. In this video I want to share with you what actually brought a person like me to Japan and why I am here and what do I think about my first month living in Japan. If you're interested in this type of content, please continue watching this video. So why do I think this type of video will be interesting for someone watching it right now? Well, first of all, I come from Eastern Europe. I come originally from Poland, but for the past 10 years I lived abroad. I used to live in Netherlands, Belgium, also briefly in Sweden, Italy, and of course in Poland. And then I went to holiday to Thailand, to the south of Thailand, and I stayed on the Paradise Island where I met my Japanese husband. That's why I'm at this moment in Tokyo. Did I ever wanted to come to Tokyo actually? Well, this might... The answer to this question might actually shock you, but I was never interested in Japan. Why? Maybe because I'm coming from post-Soviet country, from Eastern Europe. When I was growing up, we even didn't have Nintendo. We had a counterfeited version, I believe it was a Russian version called Pegasus, and I think anime was not so popular. The only anime that I remember that I was watching while growing up was Dragon Ball Z and Pokemon, of course. I remember in kindergarten, I was born in 95, so after the collapse of Soviet Union already, but Poland was still on the east and was not so progressing as west of Europe. And I think in Japan, majority of foreigners come from other Asian countries, and right now from Australia or from West and United States, and people from Eastern Europe are not so very much common in Japan for one reason or another. Of course, there are some exceptions of the rules, but I believe the last statistics that I checked, how many Polish people reside, so not that they are not tourists, are in Japan, it was 1,500 or around 2,000 people. So I think this is not very big percentage if we can talk about statistics at all in this case. So this is a little bit background story or where I come from and how I got here basically. And in my case is truly only love. I would call it like this. Yeah, I think it's love. Love brought me here. My Japanese husband, as we just got married 4 days ago, so we are freshly married couple in Japan. There is a lot of formalities that I have to go through still, and if you're interested in me talking about how these procedures looks like, please let me know in the comment box below and I will try to make video about this because I think it can be also interesting for some of you. So if you are this person, please let me know. I want to know your opinion as well. So my Japanese husband, of course, obviously is not a regular, let's say, Japanese person. We met, both of us, we met in Thailand. I think Thailand is quite a popular destination for Japanese people. You can, of course, let me know how do you think. It looks like from your perspective. I'm in Japan only for 1 month, so I don't know a lot of local culture and habits, and I'm very interested in all of that. So please forgive me as well if I make any mistake or if I say something that is not true from Japanese point of view. But this video is not about my husband, it's about me. I think you're also more interested about this person that is here on the screen rather than my husband that is behind the scenes. But this is the only reason why I'm here actually. So coming back to my point about we didn't even have Nintendo when I was growing up in Poland. Japanese culture, I think, was not so known, or at least not in my bubble, or at least I was not so interested in watching anime or reading manga and in this type of aesthetics, let's put it like this. Or maybe it was combination of all of this. And I don't know if you know guys, but Eastern Europe, yeah, there's North, East, West, and South of Europe, okay? Let's put it like this. And East Europe, let's look back at the history. In Eastern Europe, a lot of things were a little bit late than in the west part of Europe, like in France, Germany, UK, or Italy. So this is the Europe that you think about when somebody talks about Europe. Nobody talks about Poland in this equation. And I don't blame you for that, of course, but that's why I feel the mission to share more knowledge about it, and maybe you will be more interested about Poland and Polish culture and how Europe can be different. And Europe is not only the biggest countries and biggest internationally known cultures, but there is much more to that, and maybe how similar in some ways East Europe is to Far East Japan. I think this is the most interesting point, the most vital perspective and purpose that I see for myself being here. So coming back to culture, I never know much about Japan, of course. I know all of the brands and everything came from Japan, like Fuji films or all of the video games and Pokemons, and we all love that, but it was not so prominent as in other countries, at least not for me. And I think in my surroundings, people that were interested in that were geeks. Let's put them, I don't like to put labels on people, but let's just call them geeks, and I was never a geek person. Geek or interested in Japan. I don't want to offend, of course, anyone, but this is just my perspective. So no, I never wanted to come to Far East Japan, because I didn't have enough look into the country when I was younger, and probably the same comes to you when you think about Poland. And of course, Polish economy is not so big as Japan. So yes, and therefore I don't remember any situations where I even heard Japanese, or I never knew anyone from Japan. Before my husband, maybe at work, I used to have a corporate job at a very big international company, and sometimes maybe I was exchanging emails or having some meetings with Asian people, but Japanese were not so many, unfortunately. Japan was never on my radar. Of course, I would love to. I always wanted to come to Japan one day, but it wouldn't be my first choice. I was not associated with Japanese culture. I was not associated with Japanese language. And the only cities, let's say, that I knew from Japan was Tokyo, Osaka, and that's it. I didn't even know, I think, about Kyoto so much. But this is all I know about Japan, because there's also a huge distance between these two countries. So that's interesting. I mentioned culture, I mentioned language, and I mentioned geography. I think those are three main reasons why people want to come to Japan, and I didn't get exposed enough to be interested in Japan to come here by myself. How is life here? Well, let me tell you, let's say, a story. I just came back from 7-Eleven. I just went to 7-Eleven, and every time I have to go somewhere without my Japanese husband, I think that this is pretty stressful for both of the interactors. Let's say even if I have to interact with a cashier at 7-Eleven and it's me, all of the cashiers that I met in 7-Eleven or other convenience stores or just stores in Japan are super nice, and they're trying to speak English with me sometimes, so that's very nice and I really appreciate it. But I think it's equally stressful for both of the parties because it's not so common to see Europeans, blonde Europeans, let's say. And not a lot of Japanese people want to be bothered with talking with European. I have this impression. Some people are very interested, of course, but because it's so rare, maybe right now, I know Japanese people are saying that there is a lot of tourists, much more than it used to be, because yen is not, unfortunately, so strong as it used to be in the bubble era. But yeah, maybe there's a lot of foreigners, maybe there's a lot of Australian people coming to Japan right now, but it's still not a lot, okay? It's still not a lot. The population of Tokyo itself is almost the same as the population of Poland, so just to give you an idea of how it is. So yeah, when I go to supermarket or every time I have to go somewhere by myself, I feel a little bit like an alien. Rarely happens that I feel like a superstar, but it's whether this or this direction. You can feel that there is not a lot of foreigners here in Japan, because not in all of the places there is English translation to things, like when you go to supermarket. In some of the supermarkets, I believe it was Coop, there was not even English translation on the screen, and when I just arrived in Japan, it was, I think it's still actually difficult to choose one of the 6 methods how I can pay. And then realizing that, for example, I cannot pay with my phone, I cannot just pay with touch. So I try to always have cash on me, but also not all of the ATMs in Japan can read foreign countries. Fortunately enough, all of the ATMs that are in 7-Eleven can, but in the beginning I didn't know that. So my first interaction when I went by myself to a supermarket was very awkward and very stressful for me, because nobody spoke English in the supermarket, from the staff nor from the people. I didn't have physical cash and I didn't have a card. I only had my phone to pay with touch. I didn't even think about that it can be a problem. Now of course I know that it's better to have at least 2 payment methods when I go somewhere. So like cash and touch, or also bring my card with me as well, but also then not in all of the places my card can be readable. My European credit card can be readable, so I think it's better just to have cash all the time. But situations like this, yes, it was very stressful. Also, I don't eat meat, nor fish, nor dairy, nor eggs, because I'm vegan. I know in Japan it's not so popular. Well, there's not a lot of vegans in the world. I can say the same. Right now there's much more vegans than it used to be in the past. And I personally, I don't want to make any discussion out of it. I don't eat meat because I don't want to eat animals. And I don't want to support the industry that murders. Okay, let's put it in a way that it's not gonna be controversial to some of you. I just don't want to eat animals, and I don't want to contribute to industry that supports killing or using animals for human benefits. So being a person like me, also I'm a little bit anti-capitalistic. I don't like to buy new things. When I used to live in Europe, I always bought only second-hand clothes. The only thing that I bought from, let's say, fast fashion stores were my underwear. So yeah, it can be a little bit tricky. I know there is a lot of tofu and I love tofu culture in Japan, but like in convenience stores, tofu that I can find, like tofu bars in 7-Eleven, then they contain fish broth, bonito flakes. So it's very unfortunate. All of the vegetables that are cooked and ready to eat also are cooked in bonito flakes or bonito broth, or sometimes even pork broth, so they are not even vegetarian. And like I said, I don't blame Japanese culture for that. I know eating fish is a big part of your culture, and I truly respect that. And I see that in my husband, of course. But for a person like me, it can be a little bit tricky in the beginning. Of course, being vegan is not so easy in all of the countries, but you would be shocked that in Poland nowadays, even in convenience stores, we have a lot of vegan products. I respect traditional food culture, and I don't impose my views on my partner, and my partner don't impose his views on me. But it's been pretty difficult, I'm not gonna lie. In Tokyo, there are vegan restaurants. I'm very strong in my opinion about that, and I already stopped eating meat when I was 12 years old. So it was almost 18 years ago, but I'm not 30 yet. I feel that this is a challenge that I can take on, and maybe if there will be more people like me, we can send a message to Japanese society. I don't want to change anyone, I just want to propose or put myself out there for people to see that there are other choices in life, so we don't have to follow the same structure in all of the ways. And I think it's beneficial for both of the parties as long as we are both open-minded. Like I said, I don't want to offend anyone, I don't want to impose my views, I don't want to say that right now everyone has to eat vegan food and nobody can eat animals. Even though maybe I would like this to be true, I will never make people do something against their will because I value freedom the most. These are the challenges so far that I am facing, and I know it can be a little bit scary for Japanese people as well to see a person like me, because they don't know exactly how to act, or maybe they feel a little bit embarrassed. And I know that in Japanese culture, you want people to preserve harmony. So do I. However, I think we should respect differences and respect alternative ways of doing things, and not everything has to be the same as 30 years ago. That's why change should happen, can happen, and that's why people like me go against the current. So my mission, I feel right now that my mission here is just to have an open dialogue with people about different opinions, or about how it looks like, if anyone is ever interested in that. And I know a lot of people are. I came here, and right now, even though right now we are in Tokyo, we are just discovering the areas, just trying to choose a city where we can stay at this moment, and probably we're not gonna opt for Tokyo. We're gonna live in Kobe. I think there is so much more to Japan than Tokyo, Kyoto, and Osaka that people don't talk about, that setting an example like myself, living in Kobe, which is also a huge city comparing to European cities, because there's like 1.5 million people living there. It's gonna be nice promotion for other people also maybe to visit and to see how it looks like from foreigners' perspective, if anyone is interested in that. In summary, the biggest problems for me is, it's not the biggest problem. Like, I like to put it like this. If someone describes something as a problem to me, I always refer to it as an opportunity, because in fact this is a huge opportunity for me and also for you to see how this, I would like to use the word collaboration, I think you like to use the word collaboration, would look like between Poland and Japan and how a person like me will find themselves in the country. So that's why I also created this channel, so you can follow me along. And yes, Yes, so language, culture, food, basically all of the things that people curate their life around. However, the one thing that I really love about Japan, apart from my husband, of course, and the people and the culture, even though it's unknown for me, so it's uncomfortable for me to be here at this moment, but I really want to stay here, and I really want to push through this border and to see how we can grow together, how we can both grow together, me and Japan and me. I think it's an amazing challenge. I love the nature, I love the sea, and I love the mountains. It was always my dream to live in a place where I can see both the sea and the mountains, and Kobe is basically it. And a lot of other places in Japan, of course. Of onsen and hot springs, even though it was often very embarrassing for me to go there in the beginning alone as a foreigner, because I don't have any friends here yet. Like I said, I never met anyone else from Japan than my husband. And time for making friends will come for sure. I am a very open person, and I lived abroad already for 10 years, however in Europe. So I will definitely try to make some Japanese friends once we will be back from honeymoon, because we are leaving to honeymoon. And this past month we were just exploring. My husband showed me a lot of beautiful places. I met his family. These are amazing people and amazing views, and I'm so grateful to be here, and I'm so grateful that there is an interest in my channel. So thank you so much for supporting me, and let's see where this journey brings us. Okay, thank you so much for watching this video. If you like, please like, subscribe, and comment, because this is my first ever channel, and I really appreciate your support, guys. And please show me that you watch this video until the end. Maybe you can comment if you watch this video until the end. I will greatly appreciate it, and for sure I will reply to you if you have any questions. I'm always happy to hear your opinion, and we can have a dialogue and discussion. And yeah, once more, thank you so much, and see you in the next video. Arigatou gozaimashita.